My name is Tess Halverson. I'm 35, and I grew up on a cattle ranch in southern Idaho that's been in my family longer than most towns around us have existed. The Halversons are known landowners, respected, wealthy, untouchable. But I was never the one people looked at when they said our name. That honor always belonged to my older sister, polished and admired, the one who married well while I stayed behind with dirt under my nails and silence as my inheritance. I learned early how to stand at the edge of my own family, useful but invisible, loved in theory and overlooked in practice. When my father died, I swallowed my grief and did what I always did. I kept my head down, asked no questions, and told no one what he'd quietly left me. I especially didn't mention it when my sister married a man who asked too many questions about land, paperwork, and timing. Looking back now, that silence wasn't weakness. It was survival, because the moment I realized what they were planning, it was already too late to pretend this was just a family celebration and not the beginning of something far more dangerous. The wedding wasn't small. Elias had always hated small. It was loud, expensive, and bloated with strangers. Guests with polished smiles and empty eyes filled the vineyard lawn while string lights blinked like surveillance drones above our heads. I wore a navy dress that didn't fit right, poured drinks until my feet ached, and counted the seconds until I could vanish. "Smile more, Tess. You look like you're at a funeral," Elias hissed through her teeth, barely moving her lips. "I am," I muttered back, "just not the one everyone else thinks." Jordan Blair, my new brother-in-law, worked the crowd like a campaigner. Silk tie, Rolex, hands always half-folded behind his back, like he was hiding something. When he hugged me, it was cold, short. His mouth brushed my ear. "Hope you're keeping those papers safe," he whispered. "What papers?" But he was already smiling past me at the next guest. A calculated miss. I felt the first chill of the night run through my spine. A memory surfaced. Dad's voice, low and dry, telling me, "Men like that don't talk unless they already know the answer." Cut to the barn. 2 hours later. Most guests had migrated to the ballroom. I slipped away through the back kitchen, grabbing the flashlight from the pantry hook. My boots hit the gravel path, the vineyard lights dissolving behind me. The barn creaked. A storm was inching in from the west. Wind pushed the door open with a low groan. I kept the flashlight low, past the saddle rack, past the old ledger desk, straight to the file cabinet in the corner, our makeshift family archive, where Dad kept everything from cattle permits to birth certificates. I tugged the bottom drawer. Locked. Except it had been locked. Now it wasn't. A jagged scrape ran along the edge like it had been pried open recently. I pulled it out. Empty folders, torn tab labels, one sheet half crumpled, left behind as if by mistake or arrogance. I unfolded it. A scanned contract of sale. The Halverson Ranch. Seller, Tess Halverson. Buyer, Lathe Holdings, LLC. Witness, Jordan Blair. My heart lurched. I didn't sign this. Not now. Not ever. I shoved the paper into my jacket pocket, turned, and stopped. Someone had been standing behind me. Just seconds ago. I smelled cologne. Familiar, sharp, and fading. Flashlight trembling, I backed toward the barn door. A horse somewhere kicked its stall. A single beam of light from outside swept across the hay floor. Headlights. Someone was waiting. I ducked behind the workbench, breath held. Then, footsteps. Faint, approaching, and then gone. I waited another full minute before I bolted, heart in my throat, racing back toward the house. Inside my room, I locked the door, drew the curtains. I sat on the floor, the contract in my lap, hands still shaking. A knock came. Soft, deliberate. Under the door, a white envelope slid into the room. I stared at it, my mouth dry, my hands frozen. I waited. Nothing. I crawled forward, picked it up. Inside, another copy of the same contract. Highlighted, annotated, with one message scrawled across the top in red ink. Don't ask questions. Just sign before they decide for you. That's not my signature, but they're counting on me, not fighting back. I didn't sleep. I sat in the dark, holding that forged contract like a trigger that hadn't gone off yet. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. My mouth tasted like metal. A phrase from my dad kept looping in my head. The ones who smile most are the ones planning the hardest. By sunrise, I had a plan. Call Marlo, the only person I trusted from the outside. A friend from college, turned property lawyer. She'd stayed in Boise after graduation and owed me more than a few favors. I dialed. The phone rang twice. Tess. Her voice was tight, not sleepy, alert. Something's wrong, I said. I need you out here. Now. A pause. Who else knows? Just me, and someone who shouldn't. 10 seconds later, she said she'd be on the road within the hour. Cut. The ranch was empty. The wedding crew was gone. The orchard fog had barely lifted. I stepped outside barefoot, walked past the barn, past the tool shed, straight to the old summer house. Inside, stillness, dust hanging in slants of morning light. I opened the drawer of Dad's desk. Empty. But the old mirror behind it? I tapped twice, then slid the frame to the right. There it was. A steel safe, bolted to the floor. Combination lock. I didn't need to think. Dad always said, if I trust you enough to protect it, I trust you enough to remember it. I turned the dial. April 17th, 92. His anniversary with Mom. Click. Inside, a leather folder, a Polaroid, and a single metal key. The folder held the original will. Thick legal pages. A notarized document with 3 signatures. But tucked behind the last page, something I didn't remember. A codicil. Hidden clause. Handwritten. Dated 2 months before he died. In the event of coercion, fraud, or manipulation regarding this property, full controlling rights over the Halverson ranch transfer solely to Tess Halverson, regardless of other signatures or family claims. I blinked. Read it again. And again. The only clause that mattered. And no one knew it existed. Cut. Marlo pulled into the gravel drive fast, like someone who already knew this wasn't going to be a normal morning. She stepped out, heels crunching. Black coat. Thin gold chain. Same sharp eyes I remembered. You didn't tell me it was this bad, she said, scanning my face. I didn't know it was this bad. We walked back into the summer house. I showed her everything. She read the codicil. No reaction. No sound. Just a slow breath out. This changes everything, she finally said. I know. No, Tess. This clause isn't just powerful. It's dangerous. If they knew you had this, they'd come for me, I finished. She nodded. They will. Silence. Then she asked, where's the key from? I held it up. No tag. No engraving. Just rust. I don't know. Marlo didn't speak. She just looked at me like she was calculating a risk. Let me take this into town, get copies made, she said. You stay here. Stay quiet. Don't go digging. That last part hit weird. I never said I was going to dig. And Marlo had always been the one to say, dig until you hit blood, then dig harder. I narrowed my eyes. She noticed. Just being cautious, she added too quickly. I handed her the codicil, but something pulled at me. Her phone buzzed. She grabbed it fast. Locked screen. But before it went dark, I saw a name flash across. Jordan. Her breath caught. Then she smiled like nothing happened. You'll be fine, Tess. Just sit tight. She left 5 minutes later. Cut. I waited 5 minutes after her car disappeared. Then sprinted to the living room. Grabbed her coffee mug. Smudged rim. Still warm. I wiped the inside with a napkin. Slipped it into a sandwich bag. Tossed it into the freezer. Dad used to say, if someone hugs you too fast, check your pockets. I didn't need proof she was lying. But I'd get it anyway. If this clause is real, they'll come for me next. The envelope hadn't left my coat pocket. Neither had the chill in my spine. I drove into town, windows down, radio off. I needed silence to think. Marlowe's betrayal wasn't confirmed, yet. But Jordan's name on her phone wasn't a coincidence. And in thrillers, coincidences don't survive more than 5 pages. The Canyon County Recorder's office was quieter than I remembered. Beige walls, buzzing lights, a faint smell of floor wax and burnt coffee. I stepped to the counter. The clerk looked up, young, mid-20s, unsure whether I was trouble or tragedy. "Can I help you?" "I need a full property history on Halverson Ranch. All recorded transfers in the last 6 months." She blinked, started typing. Her fingers hesitated. "You'll need private authorization to access those files." "Why?" "Ownership documents were reclassified last week. It's locked pending legal review." My mouth went dry. "I'm the named owner, Tess Halverson." Another pause. She leaned forward, voice lowered. "I can't print anything, but—" She slid a sticky note across the counter. 3 words. A name. Lathe Holdings, LLC. "Never saw it," she whispered. I walked out. Fast. Air colder now. Lighter too. Back in the truck, I Googled the name. Lathe Holdings. Delaware registered shell. No employees. No contact. But it had purchased 3 other ranches across Idaho in the past year. Each one sold under contested ownership. Blood started thumping behind my eyes. Cut scene. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I answered. Silence. Then breathing. Then a whisper. "You should have stayed small, Tess." Click. I threw the phone into the passenger seat and gunned the engine. Gravel kicked. Tires screamed. I hit the highway back toward the ranch. 30 minutes out. The sky was turning. Storm coming. I checked the rearview mirror. A truck. Big. White. Too close. It changed lanes when I did. Matched my speed. No plate on the front. 20 minutes out. The truck closed in. Brights flashed once. I tapped my brakes. It didn't fall back. 15. It accelerated. 10. It swerved. It wasn't following me. It was hunting me. A turnoff appeared. Dirt road. No signage. I yanked the wheel. Skid. Dust cloud. The truck followed. I hit 60. Heart slamming. No signal out here. The trees thickened. I glanced back. Too late. The bumper clipped me. The truck spun. I lost control. Slam. Tree. Glass. Black. Cut. Airbag burned my face. Horn wailing. A branch poked through the windshield. I coughed. Tasted copper. Left leg numb. Right hand trembling. Phone. Gone. I pushed the door open with my shoulder. Staggered out. Rain started. First drops sharp like needles. Boot prints. In the mud. Fresh. Large. Headed away. Whoever drove that truck walked off. But why not finish it? Why not stay? Cut again. I limped into a nearby grove. Sat under a broken fence. Shaking. I remembered something Dad once said when I asked why he didn't sell. Some land you don't own. It owns you. And some people, they kill to prove that lie. I stayed there an hour, breathing, bleeding. When I finally stood, something glinted in the grass. A torn piece of fabric, gray suit material, like the one Jordan wore at the wedding. I picked it up, stuffed it into my jacket. Then, just before I left, I saw it. The back of my truck, rear window shattered, the inside of the windshield, written in fog, just 4 words. You have no idea. They didn't just steal the ranch. They've buried people for less. I didn't go home. I went where noise hides truth. A roadside diner just outside Boise. Neon sign flickering like a bad pulse. Rain streaking the windows. The kind of place where conversations dissolve into steam and grease. I slid into a booth near the back. Kept my jacket on. Hood up. Eyes on the door. I texted Noel Kim. I have proof. Contracts. Names. I was run off the road. Delivered. Read. No reply. The waitress poured coffee. Black. No questions. Minutes passed. Then 10. Then 15. I checked my watch. Noel was never late. He used to say, "If you miss the first minute, you miss the story." The bell over the door rang. I looked up. Marlo. Black coat. Same gold chain. Hair damp from rain. She scanned the room, saw me, smiled like relief. My stomach dropped. "Where's Noel?" I asked before she could speak. She slid into the booth across from me. Too close. Too calm. Car accident. On the connector road. He's alive. Shaken. Hospital. Urgent care. Minor. Her eyes didn't blink when she said it. I nodded. Slow. Let my shoulders drop. Played tired. That's a shame, I said. I was ready to go public. Her hand froze around her mug. A hairline crack. She recovered fast. That would have been a mistake. Why? Because once you start a fire, you don't get to choose what burns. I watched her reflection in the window. Watched the door behind me. You always hated metaphors, I said. She smiled. People change. A man at the counter laughed. Plates clattered. The waitress passed. Distraction. I leaned forward. Lowered my voice. Did Jordan put you up to this? Her jaw tightened. Half a second. Then she laughed. Jordan's not that important. That was the wrong answer. Because people lying always downplay power. Her phone buzzed on the table. Face down. She flipped it instinctively. Too late. A message preview lit the screen. Keep her contained. Clause is active. Make her sign new POA. Jordan's name. My breath hitched. I stood. I need air. She nodded too quickly. I'll grab water. We both moved at once. I reached for her phone. She grabbed my wrist. Hard. Her nails dug in. Smile gone. Tess, she hissed. Don't do this. I twisted. Kicked the booth. Her grip slipped. The phone slid into my hand. I bolted. Through the kitchen. Steam. Shouts. A cook swore as I slammed the back door open. Rain soaked me instantly. I ran. Past dumpsters. Alley slick with oil. Footsteps behind me. I vaulted a fence. Cut left. Ducked into a laundromat. Fluorescent lights. Machines rattling like gunfire. I hid behind a row of dryers. Checked the phone. Messages. Dozens. Lathe holdings. Wire transfers. Photos of deeds. GPS pings my truck. My house. My phone. They'd been tracking me. A voice echoed in my head. Something Dad used to say when I asked how to spot danger. If they know where you are before you decide to move, you're already late. I powered the phone off. Yanked the battery. A shadow passed the window. I waited. Counted breaths. 10. 20. Nothing. I slipped out the side door, heart hammering, and didn't stop moving until I hit my car. Cut. I drove to the county courthouse. Lights still on. Late filings desk open. I didn't ask permission. I filed an emergency injunction. Property dispute. Alleged fraud. Provided copies of the forged contract, the codicil photos I'd snapped before Marlo took it, the shell company records. The clerk frowned. This will trigger a review. Good. It'll notify the other parties. Better. Paperwork stamped. Time logged. Mandatory reports filed. A quote surfaced, something I once heard in a courtroom hallway. The truth doesn't shout. It waits until the door is locked, then knocks once. Cut. Outside, the rain had eased. My phone buzzed again, this one mine. Unknown number. I answered. Jordan's voice. Smooth. Smiling. You're making this harder than it needs to be. You tried to kill me. A pause. Then, don't flatter yourself. You used my sister. She wanted a future. I offered one. You offered a lie. He sighed. You always did see too much. Headlights flared across the lot. A car idling, watching. Jordan spoke again. Go home, Tess, before someone gets hurt. I looked straight at the car. I'm done hiding, I said. I'm coming for all of you. Noelle met me at a rest stop outside Mountain Home. Still in the same suit, one sleeve ripped, a thin scar above his left eyebrow. He didn't waste time. Marlowe showed up 5 minutes before I got hit. Convenient, I muttered. She's in deep, he said. Lathe Holdings? It's not just Jordan. They've got lawyers in D.C. offshore accounts and lobby ties so thick you'd need bolt cutters. We sat on the concrete curb. Wind howled across the empty parking lot. My hands trembled, but not from the cold. Did you get the full codicil? He asked. I had it until she grabbed it. He exhaled. We'll need to force discovery. Fast. There's more, I said. They've been following me. GPS photos. They knew I was heading to the courthouse before I got there. He looked at me, face pale. Then they have someone on the inside. Cut. We drove back to the ranch in silence. Noelle scanned for tails. I double-checked my phone for hidden apps. None showed, which meant it wasn't the device. They were tracking me physically. I parked behind the barn, out of camera range. We ducked into the house through the old pantry door. Dust in the air. Power off. Like the place had been paused. Noelle unfolded his laptop. Let's find the pattern, he said. We cross-checked the forged documents with timestamps, traced the shell company's IP logins, even scraped the metadata from Marlowe's email threads I'd saved. And there it was, a document labeled POA under final, power of attorney, with my forged signature, dated 4 days before the wedding. This was never about the ranch, I said. It was about control, permanent control. Noelle's fingers flew across the keys. And here's your smoking gun. A hidden file embedded in the metadata. Password protected. I stared at the screen. Try Snowfield. That was Dad's safe word. For everything. He typed it in. Unlocked. A PDF opened. A will. Dad's actual will. Notarized. Timestamped. Sealed. And it listed the ranch. Solely to me. Marlowe wasn't just hiding the codicil. She'd buried the real document. My heart hammered. We take this to court. We'll need a secure backup. 2 places. Hard and cloud. A noise cut us off. Boots. On wood. On our wood. Someone was inside the house. Light still off. Footsteps deliberate. Heavy. Noelle looked at me. Whispered. Basement. Now. We slipped down the creaky stairs, laptop in hand. He pulled the breaker. Kill switch. The house fell into total darkness. Another step above. Then silence. Not retreat, waiting. We held our breath. Then, bang. Back door kicked in. I gripped the wrench by the furnace. Noelle positioned the laptop under the water tank. If they got us, at least the evidence lived. Cut. Footsteps closer. No talking. No flashlights. Professionals. The hallway creaked. I raised the wrench. Then, the front door slammed. Boots scrambled. A voice cursed. Running. Then tires screeched outside. Noelle whispered. Either that was backup or bait. We waited. 5 minutes. 10. Then the burner phone buzzed. Unknown number. A video message. I hit play. My sister. Tied to a chair. Duct tape across her mouth. Bruises on her arms. Basement walls behind her I didn't recognize. Jordan's voice. You wanted leverage? Now, so do we. You have 48 hours. Turn over everything. Or she won't make it to day 3. I dropped the phone. Noelle picked it up. Location scrubbed, he said. But that echo in the background. Salt Flats. Acoustic signature matches Bonneville Basin. Utah. I stared at the screen. A phrase echoed in my mind. Something Dad said after a bad cattle theft trial. Some debts don't come in dollars. They come in blood. This was one of them. And it was my turn to collect. The salt flats were endless, like a mirror made of dust and regret. I stood 100 feet from the abandoned warehouse where they kept Elias. The sun beat down. No clouds. No mercy. Noel scanned the horizon from the rental SUV. He rifled through his phone like it was a loaded gun. Police response units are 10 minutes out, he said. They have to be, I replied. He promised 48. That was 2 hours ago. My sister's voice still echoed in my head, shaky, scared. Tess, I didn't know. But the truth had teeth. We approached the building. Noel in front. Me right behind. Guns drawn. No uniforms. No backup. Just us. The door creaked like a coffin. Inside, cool air, stale and hollow. Rust flakes fell from beams. Concrete walls. Nothing but silence. Footsteps. Then, a whimper. Elias. Tied to a chair. Throat red, voice broken. She didn't look like a villain now. Just another casualty. I didn't hesitate. Elias, I said. She blinked, confused. Tess. No games, I whispered. Before she could answer, a shot rang out. We hit the ground. Dust flew. Noel shouted, move! We crawled toward Elias. The shooter stepped out from the shadows. Jordan, gun in hand, black eyes, a grin like rot. You didn't think I'd let you take everything, did you? I didn't answer. I raised my voice, steady as my breath. Drop it. He shook his head. Your father taught you to fight, he said, but he never taught you what to do when you win. A laugh. Hollow. That was when I remembered something Dad used to tell me every time I felt small or invisible. A lion isn't kinder for knowing it can take your life. A lion survives because it knows when to strike. I saw the gun twitch. Noel slipped beside me, breath shallow, eyes locked with Jordan. Then something shifted. Not fear. Calculus. He misread the room. He aimed. I moved. Fast. I lunged. Dust and grit in my mouth. The gun fired again, no sound. No bullet. Just recoil. I grabbed Jordan's wrist and twisted. The shot hung in the air. Like regret. Noel tackled him. Gun skittered across the floor. We cuffed him with cuffs we brought. I looked down at Elias. Her face pale. Tears in her eyes. I'm so sorry, she whispered. I didn't know how deep it went. I nodded. Not forgiveness. Just closure. The sound of sirens faded in the distance. Relief arrived as a team with badges and lights. They took Jordan away. Noel handed me my phone. One message blinking. Case transferred to state. Immediate protective orders granted. I exhaled. Hard. I walked outside. Sun setting over salt flats. One light. Like honesty bleeding through lies. Elias limped beside me, arms free. I kept walking. We reached the SUV. No one spoke. Not yet. Later. Tonight was not about words. It was about survival. About reclaiming truth. I thought about what someone once said. Justice isn't a storm that passes. It's the ground that stays after. We stepped into the vehicle. I started the engine. Headlights cut through the dim. We drove back toward home, toward the ranch. The orchard waited, and with it the real inheritance. Not land, not money, not contracts or legal clauses. Freedom. We drove in silence until gravel crunched beneath the tires. The Halverson ranch loomed. Quiet. Still. Nothing left but memory and dawn. I stepped out. Air cool against my skin. I closed my eyes. No fear. No shadows. Just wind. Just land that belonged to us. And for once I could breathe. Elias walked beside me. She spoke, voice still rough. Tess. I turned. She didn't bow her head this time. She met my eyes. Thank you. I nodded. No grand words. Just truth. The orchard behind the house. Rows of apple trees. Leaves rustling. Like hope. I stepped between them. A breeze wrapped around me. For a long moment, nothing moved but the air. Then, I lifted my face to the horizon and whispered, "We survived." Because survival wasn't luck. It was choice. And choice was mine. The orchard's quiet now. But if anyone ever comes for it again, they'll find me waiting. In that moment, I knew the fight had changed me. Not into someone cold, but someone who chose to stand. Not in the shadows, but in the light. And in that choice, I found peace.